Hello guys, how are you? It's good to be back on YouTube. I've taken quite some time off, as you guys probably know by now, and well, it's good to see all of you already here. I see, well, the stream hasn't started officially. At my side, I see there's 51 waiting, so I'm happy to see such interest in my stream right now. Any case, while I was taking a break from YouTube, I have undergone some changes in my thought pattern and also in my ideology, and also, uh, yeah, basically, you guys know I've always just perpetuated libertarian ideology to you guys, and I've always self-described as a libertarian and had libertarian values and also always supported libertarian or classical liberal values until I started reading a bit more. Took a lot of time reading the last 6 weeks or so, and also speaking to other people, especially speaking to Russian people. I have changed a bit of what I think about libertarianism. But in any case, while we're still waiting for the guys to start watching and log in, go check out my Afrikaans channel. I'm also getting a bit active on that. The link is in the description underneath. So it will be great to see you guys there in the future. See quite a lot of the old guys here. Volume is quite low. Well, I don't know how I can change that. My mic is set on high. I'll just speak louder. Maybe that's better. So libertarianism says basically that every person should have the right to do whatever he wants to, and it's basically a combination of economic liberalism and social liberalism. And what I've realized in the past few weeks is the fact that there has never been a libertarian state. And whenever social liberalism is on the rise, economic liberalism is on the fall. In communist states, they are very, very socially very liberal. And in socialist states, they are usually almost as socially liberal as in communist states. So, talking to some Russian people, I have learned that Russia is doing quite well economically. Now that they're not communist anymore, it's fairly easy for a generation to pull themselves up by the bootstraps in a single generation, and become economically sufficient as they were, and economically on the level of a first world country. Especially if it's a country like Russia, which is quite a high IQ society, and where there's a lot of skill already. I mean, after communism, if someone was a doctor in Soviet Russia and they come back and after communism they are a doctor still, and they can quite easily make the money that a doctor in a liberal society would make. But what really is killing Russia, and what really is still holding Russia back, it's the aftermath of social liberalism. And I just realized that social liberalism, or the social liberalism part of libertarianism, is not going to work. Whenever you have economic liberalism, you can't have social liberalism as well. The aftermath of the extreme social liberalism of communism is pulling Russia down at this stage. A lot of single mothers, high drug use, there's not really any morality in society. And that's the big problem that they're sitting with at this moment in the aftermath of communism. The more, if you look at communism as a structure, the communism as a structure has one goal and one goal only, and that is to break down a society as much as possible, so that the people in charge in the leadership positions can take control and can absolutely devastate the country to establish an extreme authoritarian government. And they do that by, as we know, extreme economic socialism, and also very high social liberalism. And especially also reading the book by Patrick J. Buchanan, who is a paleoconservative, Death of the West, I realized this. There has never been a single country in the world where where the two liberalisms, economic liberalism and social liberalism, can coexist. It's extremely important for a country to be socially conservative, very socially conservative. Otherwise, what we see is the fall into socialism. It's the same with America. America has probably been the country that gets called up all the time when we talk about what is a libertarian country or what is the closest that we have seen to a libertarian country. But if we look at the founding fathers, they were also socially very conservative. Um, America has been found on socially very conservative values. It's only in the last few hundred years that they have fallen into a lot of social liberalism. Another example that we can look at if we look at this theory is the black community in America. Now, the black community in America during the 50s or so were doing a lot better than they are doing now. And I'm not saying it was better under the Jim Crow laws or whatever. What I'm saying is that they were socially a lot more conservative than their white counterparts at this stage. The civil rights leaders like Martin Luther King, who were mostly Republicans, didn't join the Republican Party because the Republican Party were friendlier towards blacks than the Democrat Party was. I believe both parties were equally intolerant towards blacks at that stage. The reason why black people joined the Republican Party was because they felt close to the social conservative values of the Republican Party, the same social conservative values that the Republican Party in America has gotten rid of at the current stage. And they were doing quite well. Their single motherhood were at less than a fifth. Now it's exactly the opposite. Now the single motherhood of black Americans is at 4 out of 5. And the African American community as a whole were on the rise socioeconomically. Mostly they were not in high skilled jobs. They worked for companies, like especially in Detroit was a big African American community because most African Americans worked in manufacturing plants like cars and so forth, but they were still had the strong nuclear family and the strong social conservative values, and because of that they as a community were on the rise. Now, as we know, the socioeconomic status of the black Americans have fallen a lot, and they are still falling quite a lot. And of course the liberals will have you believe that it is because of oppression, which is totally ridiculous. It's the same as South Africa, where all the failures of black people are being blamed on white oppression, which is ridiculous if you realize that there are no white oppression in South Africa, possibly in South Africa. But in any case, this just shows you how social liberalism cannot coexist with a free society. This just shows you how communists and socialists worldwide are using social liberalism to take down societies, to break down societies so that they have no moral compass and so that their morality are being taken down so that they can destroy a society by doing that. Let's see what the comments here say. All right. Yeah, Republicans in name only are only in decline. So what we're talking about today is rising nationalism in the right. So with the media being calling everyone fascist that is to the right of Mao for the last 20 or 30 years, what we are seeing now is a rise in people who are actually socially very conservative, like the most recent one, Bolsonaro. And what makes this quite funny is, with the media calling everyone to the right of Chairman Mao fascists, when people are when people who are actually might have fascist tendencies come to rise, then what are the media going to call them? I mean, the media can call anyone fascist or far right or neo-Nazi or whatever. But what are they going to call people who are actually far right then? Because you can't call someone further right as they come in. And also, this gives a lot of legitimacy to people on the far right, if they are actually on the far right. Um, if the media continue call Donald Trump a Nazi and compare him to Adolf Hitler or whatever, all that they are doing by or achieving by doing this is they give a lot of legitimacy to actual National Socialism. I mean, um, if they say Donald Trump is a Nazi and America, the land of the free, elects a Nazi to. Why is everyone saying something about volume? Um, I'm just going to see if I can do something about that. My mic volume is set to its stop. Let me see if I can fix that. Microphone. Set up microphone. Okay. Next. Set up microphone. Next. I'm gonna try and see if I can set the volume higher on this microphone here. No, the volume is set at its limit. Maybe maybe I can move it closer to my face. How's that? Is that better? Because this is the only thing I can think of to do. Alright, I see people say the volume is fine right now, so that's good. Any case, where was I? I'm probably gonna cut this part out in the actual video. Oh, so what I was saying is everyone calling everyone who is to the right of Mao being called a fascist by the media, all this does is give legitimacy to actual people who might be a lot more right-wing. I mean, the media calls Donald Trump far right, Nigel Farage is far right, everyone in the new nationalist parties rising all over Europe is called far right, even though most of them are not. Take the AFD, the Alternative für Deutschland, for example, which is the populist party in Germany, who is also the fastest rising party in Germany. They're actually quite moderate in their stance. They're not really far right. They're not really nationalist per se, even though they call themselves nationalists. They are not like the old school nationalists. They are very moderate per se. So the media calling all of them far right just causes legitimacy being given to actual far rights. So what I've realized is that what we need to do if we want to have true freedom in society is we need to turn back to real social conservatism. That doesn't mean anything far right, but just social conservatism, paleoconservatism, as the conservatism before the 50s. It's quite funny, many people like Ann Coulter say that Republicans or conservatives in the United States have not been conserving anything since the 50s. And turning that back should be the goal. Now let's talk about someone like Bolsonaro. Bolsonaro is the latest of the new, as the media call them, far-right leaders being elected into office. And he might be even actually, in some cases, far-right if you look at what he has been saying. I don't really want to say he's far right because I don't really know what his policies will be, and I haven't seen his policies yet. But he's basically everything that the media has told us that Donald Trump is. He's actually quite bombastic in the way that he talks and the way that he handles himself. For example, he did call Africans the lowest scum on the earth, and he did call. He also said that he would rather have his son die than his son being gay when he was confronted in an interview, because he said that homosexuality needs to be illegal and stuff like that. And he also, there was some liberal woman in parliament that he was talking to, and she made this point about this whole fictional rape culture in the West, and he said, "Well, luckily you are too ugly to ever be raped." So saying stuff like that, I wouldn't say that's the best way to go around at it. I think a person needs a lot more finesse than that. But just the fact that he holds these views might make him further to the right than someone like Donald Trump, for example. Donald Trump is actually just a normal 90s Democrat. He's really not that conservative. He's really not that right wing. Someone like Teddy Roosevelt will make Donald Trump look like a teddy bear. So what we are seeing here is a rise of nationalism, and the fact that Donald Trump called himself a nationalist gave a lot of legitimacy to nationalism worldwide. I have absolutely no idea why he did call himself a nationalist, because he doesn't really, his ideology and what he has done so far does not really reflect nationalism at all. But he did call himself a nationalist, and that gave a lot of legitimacy to these nationalist movements worldwide. And what we are seeing here is a shift in the right wing, a shift back to actual social conservatism. The right wing has dropped social conservatism in the past, I would say since the 50s, the past 70 years or so, and that's the problem. That's also the reason why I think black Americans have strayed away from the Republican Party since 60 years ago, because of the fact that the only thing that they really believed in the Republican Party was dropped by the Republican Party and by conservatives worldwide. I mean, Theresa May is calling herself a conservative. She's the head of the Conservative Party in Britain. She's not conservative at all. Angela Merkel, she's the head of the Conservative Party in Germany. She's not a conservative at all. All these people who are heads of quote-unquote conservative parties worldwide are not conservatives anymore. I see Conscious Caracal say, "I'm not reading notes, I'm translating in my head." That's quite true. That might be the reason why I stop a bit and think a bit while I'm talking. I see South African says Trump has been surprisingly conservative. Yeah, that's quite true. He made some decisions, but I think they probably from higher up in the party, from old establishment people, the decisions that he made, especially on stuff like the judges that he confirmed, like Brett Kavanaugh and so on. Ronaldo Go says, "Please screenshot this. If a conservative party wins in South Africa, I will close down my channel." The problem is, conservative parties don't win in countries like South Africa. Conservative parties only win in countries like Germany and England and so forth, where there is still a class that can vote for conservatism. Communism appeals a lot more to lower class human beings. If you are a loser at life, then you will vote for a communist or a socialist party because you want handouts from the people who actually work hard. And if you have a country where just 10% of the people actually work enough to pay taxes, to pay income taxes, then why on earth would the other 90% of people vote for a conservative party if they can vote for a communist party who promises them everything that the other 10% have? And the electorate is so stupid that they actually believe those people. They actually believe the government can give them everything that the other 10% has. They don't understand the fact that it takes hard work and actual intelligent work to make as much. Yeah, I see. That's your point. South Africa is still far away from ever having a Conservative Party do well? Well, that depends on what happens in South Africa. That depends on whether we are going to have a South Africa in the near future, which I don't believe we are going to have. I believe the current government is going to run South Africa into the ground, and South Africa is going to break up into smaller parts. Lower class human beings based. Yeah, what I meant was lower class citizens, people in the working class and so forth. My hair looks like a schoolboy's. Higher education establishment are turning youngsters into NPCs. Well, that's quite true, Chris. That's actually very true. The fact that establishment academia is so far left is quite a big problem for us, but that is because of the time spirit of society. Something that's happening now with the time spirit changing and the massive swing to the right is the fact that people in the middle are becoming a lot more scarce. People in the middle are waking up and choosing a side. They are seeing that the left has become social justice warriors since the end of the Clinton era. I'm talking about Bill Clinton now. Since the end of the Clinton / Tony Blair era in England, that was the last real liberal side on the left. Everyone after Bill Clinton in America and Tony Blair in England and in South Africa, everyone who has been here since the first election in 1994 has turned to the social justice warrior, cultural Marxist type of leftist. Well, in South Africa, it's not cultural Marxist. In South Africa, it's old school Marxism. But any case, and people on the right have just been appeasing these social justice warriors until very recently. Someone once said that in America, all that the Democrats or the liberals or the leftists wants to do is win, and all the conservatives wants to do is be nice. So that's why they just appease to all these claims by the liberals, and why they have completely given up on social conservatism. And that's what's changing now. We see the right turning back to social conservatism worldwide. Matteo Salvini, the other person in the thumbnail that I made, he's quite socially conservative, and we see also a rise in the churches in these countries again, and the church is actually turning back to being conservative and not just be a tool of social Marxism. And that's what's terrifying the left. This is a movement that is unstoppable in the first world. Of course, as Ronaldo pointed out, there won't be a rise in conservatism in the third world, because third world people don't vote for conservative parties. Only first world people vote for conservative parties. Update on the slander case from the newspaper. Well, it came to nothing. It was a nothing burger from the start. There was nothing that it could come to from the start, because it was nothing. And yeah, they just dropped it. There's nothing they can do about it. That's actually quite funny. It's another case of where someone is called far right just completely out of no reason at all. The only reason why I've been called far right, even though I held a very libertarian position, something that I still hold dearly to, I'm just holding on to, or I'm just realizing some stuff now that people like Hopper and Murray Rothbard have only realized later in life. And that is why Hans Hermann Hoppe wrote in his book that in a true free society, or in a true libertarian society, undesirables need to be physically removed. And now that I know more about the aftermath of communism, being it's worse the aftermath of the social liberalism part of communism than the actual economic part of communism, I know why people like Hopper said that these undesirables need to be physically removed, because they are killing the morality of society. They are killing society as a whole. They're bringing down everyone with them, because they are losers at life. Uh, so while I was just holding a libertarian position still and only talking about my libertarian position and only propagating my libertarian position, the just because I was talking about farm murders, the newspapers then decided to label me far right. But it's also completely baseless, and it came to nothing because it was nothing. What can we call this phobia amongst these whatever? That's actually something that's quite funny to me. All these terms, Islamophobia, homophobia, whatever. It's really funny to me because uh, phobia means an irrational fear of something. And I don't think anyone who doesn't like homosexuals or doesn't like homosexuality has an irrational fear of homosexuals. And I don't think anyone who doesn't like the ideology of Islam has an irrational fear of Muslims. So it's really not a good term to use at all. How's my health? Well, Daniel, my health is a lot better since I'm not on the AIDS medicine anymore. The post exposure prophylaxis that I had to drink after I stopped using, after the knife attack, where they thought that I might have gotten AIDS from that, but I'll still wait a few more days until I have to do my tests, and we'll see. But I'm pretty sure I don't have AIDS, and it's wonderful to not be on the prophylactics anymore. Thoughts on Black Monday? Well, something that you all probably saw in the news was the Black Monday protest. I've watched it, and I must say I wasn't impressed at all. I wasn't impressed. I think the media probably focused on some of the weirdest people at the march and took photos and videos of them. But it's just quite weird. It wasn't as wow and as impressive as last year. It was a lot less people. It looked like, or maybe that's just the way that the photos were taken. And yeah, it didn't look like it had any structure or any good message like last year. Let's see what else we have. Hmm. What else do we have here? Still looking through some of the questions here. Oh yeah, maybe I should just explain how the AIDS thing worked. When I was attacked with the people attacking me with knives, I punched some of the guys in the mouth, and I cut open my hands doing that. And the person that I punched also bled a hell of a lot out of his mouth, and all of the blood came onto me. So that's why they thought I might have got AIDS. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, the enamel cup fiasco. Yeah, I must actually show you guys that. Let's see if I can still. No, I'm not. Doesn't work. Some reason you guys can't see my screen. I had to set that up earlier. But in any case, so there was this thing of the enamel cup where someone was complaining that Pick and Pay was still selling enamel cups as a symbol of oppression and apartheid. It's quite funny to me because enamel cups are, it's quite good crockery for camping and so forth. It's something that I use myself. I actually have enamel cups here in my flat at this stage. I'm not gonna go look for it, but you guys are gonna have to take my word for it. But then there was a lot of black people complaining about the fact that Pick and Pay is still selling it. That's quite funny because they see that as a symbol of oppression, but all that proves to you is the fact that they'll see everything as a symbol of oppression. Did you hear the migrant caravan mysteriously disappeared but left behind a cool wooden horse? Well, that seems awesome. Wooden horse seems like a very great thing to have in your country, so why wouldn't they just take it in? Succession or 1,000 Uranias? Well, I think we all already live in 1,000 Uranias. I think it would be really a lie to say we are not all living in Uranias. Even people like Max de Pre, for example, writes all these extremely anti-white articles in News 24, and then he goes back to his house in Ribia Castile, which is an all-white town, where you won't see a black person for days. So I think we are all already living in 1,000 little Uranias. There's this project by Solidarity and AfriForum where they try to get the white people to concentrate in 30 different towns or locations, and from there they want to work on actual succession or self-determination. So self-determination is very close. I think it's a lot closer than a lot of people think. Um, After the whole speech that Ernst Roots had in Parliament, where he basically just threw his pills to the swine, um, it didn't mean anything to the Parliament, but it just showed the world that the people that are now in Parliament cannot be dealt with. There's no point in going to Parliament and arguing with a bunch of low IQ individuals who wants to see you dead. So from there on, the natural process to take is self-determination. I think if we can have self-determination in our taxes as Afrikaner people, will be a great first step. If we don't have to pay taxes to the people who wants to see us dead and our children brainwashed and want to destroy our children's schools and so forth. It's actually quite funny. I read something this morning in the newspaper that a boy from an Afrikaans school in George punched one of his teachers, a female teacher, with his fist, and she had to get medical attention for that case. Um, these are the kind of things that we don't want in self-determination. These are the kind of people, exactly the kind of people that we don't want to have in our schools when we have self-determination. There's a good reason why we don't want these kids in our schools, in Afrikaans schools or in Afrikaner schools, is because they do stuff like punch teachers in the face, so that and female teachers in the face, so that they have to get medical attention. So that's quite a good reason just for self-determination, is to get back our own schools so that we can go to our schools by ourselves again, and put our children in schools where they are with their people from their own folk, from their own people. Is there such a thing as conservative in Europe that's not called far right? US Democrats will probably be right leaning or centrist in much of Europe. Yeah, there's a lot of conservative parties who are conservative in name only. As I said, Theresa May is the head of the Conservative Party in Britain. Angela Merkel is the head of the Conservative Party in Germany. So they do exist, but they are only conservative in name. Meerkat said, I was a secondary skolie Afrikaanse school. Yeah, I know that, Meerkat. I just don't want to go into the details about the type of Afrikaans people that were at that school. I just say that we don't want people, those type of people in our schools as Afrikaners. Your opinion on what the Gauteng Government of Education wants to do by forcing out Afrikaans out of schools? Well, it's basically forced integration. The school that I went to had 5 black kids in it, and those black kids all were black kids that grew up in white families. Those kids were all adopted black kids, so that's the only reason why they were actually, sent to a school like my school. And the government hates that. They hate the fact that Afrikaner kids go to school by themselves, and not go to school with black kids, because the schools that the black kids go to are terrible, and I can even admit it. I can even admit that the black schools are terrible. And of course, they will say it's the white people's fault for having better schools, that the black schools are terrible. They will never say it's the black people's fault, that their own schools are terrible and that their teachers are terrible, that their teachers don't pitch up for school, and the school is not looked after, the facilities are being destroyed, the classrooms are being destroyed. Of course, all of this is the white man's fault. And that's why they want to force integration into the white schools, so that the white schools can become like the black schools and also be destroyed. Because that's the whole point of communism. If I can't have what you have, then I must destroy what you have. Let's see what else we have here. Stop trolling on David Duke, you are creepy. Who are you talking to, South African? Oh, I see someone asked my opinion on David Duke. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know him well enough to have an opinion on him. Don't really watch any of his stuff. Start more Afrikaans private schools. Yeah, well, I think most Afrikaans schools are already kind of private. The whole Model C school is basically a private school. I mean, the school that I went to got about 1,000 rands per pupil per year in subsidies from the state, which is basically nothing. It was already private in every way, except for a subsidy that didn't really make a difference, because we paid about almost 40 grand a year to go to school, 40,000 rands. So if whether it's 40,000 rands or 41,000 rands, it really doesn't make too much of a difference. Have that South African cartoonist Clockwork on your show. Well, if he wants to come on, I can have him on, definitely. Discord after stream. Yeah, Daniel, maybe that's a very good idea. We'll have a chat on the Discord after the stream is done. What do I think of Jared Taylor? I think Jared Taylor is a very well-spoken man. I think liberals hate the fact that he's so well-spoken, and that's why they removed him from all social media, because they paint this picture of these people like him being fringe extremists, and then you watch a video with David Duke, and David Duke comes off as a highly educated person with very good manners, and they can't take that because it gives him legitimacy, and it also gives legitimacy to the fringe extremists then, if the people who represent them are so well spoken and so such good manners and come over so well. Would you chat with Tommy Robinson if someone set it up for you? Well, of course I would chat with Tommy Robinson if someone would set it up with me for me. That would be great. I don't think Tommy will go on a YouTube show as small as mine. I just watched another YouTube video and read an article that Tommy Robinson is said to make $1 million from his tour of Australia and New Zealand. So he's quite a big deal. The fact that he makes $1,000 US just talking and having shows in Australia and New Zealand. When are you going to do interviews with interesting characters like Ronaldo Ghost again? Well, I'll do a lot of interviews now again now that I'm back on YouTube. I don't know if you're sarcastic, but yeah. Let's see what else there is. What's the Discord link? I'll post the Discord link in the chat right now. Let me just go find one. I think we can get a new link here. If I can just make one. Let's see. Server settings. For some reason, oh, here we go. Invite people. Get a link. All right. Here you guys go. Here's the link to the Discord. We'll go have a chat in the Discord afterwards. I'll also put the Discord link in the description. I just need to go into and edit the description right here. Alright, here we go. Edit description. I seem to have lost a bit of my ability to speak without any notes or anything. I seem to not be as comfortable as I was in the past. But it will come back to me. I think the fact that I took such a long time off of YouTube made it a bit different for me now that I'm back on. Let's see what else we have here. Is the link? Yeah, the Discord link is now in the description. What else do we have? Discord link doesn't work. How on earth does it not work? I don't think that's... No, it does work. I just tested it. What do you think of Stefan Molyneux? Well, I love Stefan Molyneux. I would love to go on his show sometime. Would you vote for a right-centrist party? Of course I would if there was such a party in South Africa, but all of our parties are very left-wing compared to Europe and America. Dennis Prager is America's second. Yeah, of course he is. Willem has new videos now, so Ronaldo can start copying your content again. Quite funny. Oh, I see Conscious Caracal is bringing up quite a good point here. The Chinese are opening 13 police stations all over South Africa, and we didn't know anything about that. That's quite something. The fact that China are basically setting up a parallel state here in South Africa now. But we are beyond repair on the Chinese side. China has successfully colonized South Africa. We can't go back from that. That's something that's going to give us a lot of problems in the future. What else do we have here? Guys, I'm gonna almost, log off the stream, so if you have some questions, I did provide a link to the Discord channel. Will be in the Discord after this. So we'll definitely chat there. But if you have questions for me, then now's the time to ask them. I'll be waiting for them, and then I'll answer whatever we have here. Explain the Chinese situation. Well, I don't really have much to explain because there are not many facts out. There was just a report that the Chinese have set up 13 police stations all over South Africa. So they're setting up a parallel state, but what I can explain is the fact that the Chinese have loaned us billions of dollars that we'll never be able to pay back. And they obviously have a lot of, they have a lot of things to gain from South Africa if we don't pay back the money, because if we don't pay back the money, then obviously there will be a lot of other stuff that they can take from us, and I don't really want to find out what all of those stuff are. I think they probably be after our military ports, so that will be something that's going to be a world of problems for South Africa if they do that, and for the world in that matter. What else do we have here? Could you see yourself moving to Iran? Yeah, I don't know. Probably not in the near future. Can I find a Discord that you're also in? Well, I just said to this. I just made. There's just a Discord link in the description that I put there. So maybe if you just refresh the page, then you'll be able to join that Discord. Who's your favorite non-Boer, non-religious historical figure? Well, most of the historical figures that I like are religious. Let's say someone like most of the old heroes of history are religious. So I don't know who wasn't religious. That's a good historical figure. I can't think of anyone who was a hero in history who was not religious in some way. I mean, all the heroes, even the ones back in pagan Europe, were religious. Like Alexander the Great, for example, he was still religious. He was just a Greek pagan. I can't think of any atheist hero of mine. The Chinese police stations are actually community centers that work with community policing. Well, that's basically the same as AfriForum's Buurtwag initiative. It's just a Chinese one for the Chinese. If you're not libertarian, what are you now? Now, I say I still have libertarian values, but just more paleo-conservative and not socially liberal anymore. I don't believe in social liberalism, because I have seen what damage social liberalism does to a society. So probably something between paleo-conservatism and still libertarian. Also looking. Oh, the Sunday chats. Well, last time I had a religious chat on Sunday, it was taken down for, I don't even know the reason. Another video of mine was taken down just a few days ago, but I appealed both, and then both appeals were successful, that they didn't violate the community standards. I don't really understand how YouTube's algorithm work, that I get, flagged for these videos all the time, and every time I appeal them, they come back as successful appeals. So how does it work that they were flagged in the first place? Any case, guys, I'll probably see you guys again in a stream quite soon. I've got a stream set up, hopefully, with a guy who wanted to talk to him because some unions destroyed his company and the mainstream media didn't report on it. So I'll have him on, I don't know when. I haven't set up a time yet, so I'll see you again then. And I'll probably log off the stream now. I just need to get to a place where I can log it off, and then I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully next time I can sort out my microphone so that it's not as soft anymore. But in any case, I'll see you guys next time, and I'll be in the Discord for a few minutes, maybe half an hour or so now. So if you guys are not in it yet, you can join the Discord there, but with the link provided, and I'll see you guys there. Let me just go to the control room here so that I can log off the stream, and yeah, then I'm gonna greet you guys here. So goodbye to you guys, and God bless you.